Here.
Yeah, it is. It is.
Hello, friends. We are back. It's been a while.
Year.
No, it was like the spring, like 6
Yeah,
months
yeah.
off a year,
Not a whole
right?
year.
Yeah,
Didn't we actually start like a year ago?
yeah, because I think we started right after eBay opened last year.
Yeah, I
That's
think
where we
that's right.
met.
So fun. Oh, happy anniversary.
Oh, cute. I know it is next week. And friends, Anna is speaking. I was at the sneak peek yesterday talking.
Yes.
And
Tease.
Anna is actually speaking at eBay Open this year, which is super exciting.
It
Give
is.
us details, like we know what you're talking about because it's live.
Yes.
So tell us as much as you can.
Yeah, totally. So I'm doing a seller-led presentation on sourcing higher ROI inventory, which is funny because obviously all of us are probably scrambling more than ever to try to find that. Even, our bread and butter stuff isn't getting us as much money anymore as it used to, or not moving as fast, or both. So it's going to be a good session, but I really try to develop, anytime I am talking about something like that to a big diverse group of sellers, I want to make sure that there's something for everybody. So a lot of principles and kind of like overarching ideas are kind of my main focus, and then I definitely give some like tactical stuff too. But yeah, everybody should check it out. Like, hopefully you'll learn something, or like it will just spark your own creativity, or you'll be so like mad and bored with what I'm saying that you will be like, I have 10,000 better ideas than that.
Anna is
And then you will
completely
use all of those.
No, Anna was the top attended performance presentation last year. And so I'm sure whatever she has to share with us is going to be amazing. So let us know in the chat. We see Hustlebee is here. Irish Flex is
Oh my
here.
gosh, is he? I'm not on the YouTube.
Or she. I always feel like it's JC who's doing it, right?
It might be. Hi, JC. I love you, JC. I love you too, Ken, but I love JC
I always
more.
feel like if it's like social media and they're on it, it's JC.
That's
So if
hilarious.
you guys are new to our YouTube lives, we kind of just chat and talk strategies and YouTube. We'll probably do a quick update because it's been so long. Both of our lives have kind of gotten chaotic. But you
it is Ken.
Oh, it is Ken.
Hi, Ken. We love you
Sorry,
too.
Ken. I always just
with an eye.
It's
funny.
If you guys do have questions, personal questions too, as long as it's not. We'll say no if it's too personal, but feel free to ask questions if you want. Try and just put question on the in cap locks, just because sometimes the chat gets going kind of quickly. But any reselling questions are fair game for sure. But any questions. So as we wait for people to kind of pop on, Anna, last time we talked, you were moving, and I think it was like mid-move. So you're in your new place. How's it looking? How's the inventory? You have it all figured out and set up?
Oh yeah, it's running perfectly, let me tell you. No, but I will tell you, so there's good, bad, and ugly. The ugly part is mostly like my lack of sales right now, but that's everyone's ugly. So I won't elaborate on that too much, but
I think we will, because everyone's with us. We'll try and figure it out.
Well, yes, for sure. But as far as moving, I definitely think for me, it's greatly related to moving, because honestly, moving was a way bigger wrench than I expected it to be. And mostly because, okay, in theory, right, my whole store strategy is like large inventory, it's long tail, but some things have longer tails than others. And so when you don't list new things for like 8 or 9 months, it's like everything that's left is the long tail stuff. And so, my sell-through has like kind of crashed. I mean, not entirely, but
I wonder how much
needs to recover.
I wonder how much of it is just that, and just what you sell some fashion and then other things too. But
yeah,
I was looking at stuff today, and my sell-through rate pandemic was like 15%. I'm at 5 now.
Yeah.
And I didn't move. I don't have long tail. I haven't changed my fashion. I did, as you guys probably noticed, pulled significantly back, and I'll give you an update on what's going on there.
Yeah.
But as far as my reselling goes, I was still listing 10 items every day. I was still shipping. I was still I was actually working more this summer than I have in years past, because I took and it went chaotic in the spring with my personal life, family life. So I don't know how much of it is that for you as just the economy.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to say, because you're right. Clothing and fashion is like my biggest or second biggest category. I mean, it's like thousands of my items for sure. but it definitely helps. Like, in some ways, this is like the tale as old as time conversation, right? Of like, is it better to have a niche or is it better to diversify? You know, are you going to diversify across platforms? Are you going to diversify within your inventory? For me, it's always been within my inventory.
Yeah.
But anyway, willing to experiment, of course, always. But anyway,
across list now, right?
well, I'm at least starting by backing up all my inventory on List Perfectly. And then from there, I'm probably going to selectively try some of my vintage outerwear and stuff on like Etsy and Poshmark. So yeah. However, first I have to get a whole bunch of stuff over into my catalog over there, which is a whole thing I've discovered.
So if you guys don't follow Anna, what are you down? You were 10,000-ish. What are you at?
So before I moved, I was actually about around 12,000 items, and I like semi-liquidated down to about 10,000, which doesn't sound like much of a liquidation, but that was 2,000 items I didn't have to move across the country. So I was happy with that. Right now, my listings are still hovering right about 10,000, like just over 10,000. Represents a little over 11,000 items because some of those are multiple quantity, but not very many. So anyway, that is still, however, it's all fits into my basement in my new house, which is really fun. It's my basement.
Are you enjoying not having to drive somewhere?
Oh my gosh, so much. That's the thing. I'm ready to ship like 80 things a day because I have so much more time like built in, like, or more time accounted for in my processes. So it could be so much more efficient, but I don't have that many sales. So like haven't been able to enjoy that yet, but I will. I believe the day is coming. So
it will come, hopefully. Q4 is coming. But then also like student loans are starting next month. I mean, technically they start now, but you don't have to repay until October. And I mean, maybe I'm wrong, but I foresee that making things a lot worse because
I think it will.
Yeah.
It'll be worse in two ways for me because I'll have a giant payment coming back and probably less sales. But anyway.
Right. But I think that's where a lot of people are, right? Like our groceries have gone up. Lots. If you're paying rent's going up, all of that kind of stuff is, and then now student loans are coming back. We have been holding on to so we sold our house and then took some of that money for student loans because our interest rate on our student loans was significantly higher than a new mortgage. So kind of rolled it all in. So we've been but then right as we were doing all of that, the pandemic hit and they're like, oh, push off student loans. So we've had the money like sitting like in a little nest egg ready to pay it off. And then last month and I was like, because me and my husband both had such student loans and like we had the money and it was there, but just like seeing that you're paying, oh my God, it was. And then you look at our bank account now and it's like, oh,
I mean, like that. I mean, totally. I feel like that kind of with, in a weird way with moving because we had like saved up all this money for the transition. And like, since we've been here, you know, my store is like up and running fine. I am finally now getting back to listing stuff regularly, like as of the last few weeks, as you'll see in my stories on Instagram. I'm like always like, here's what I'm photographing today. Here's what I'm shipping out today.
It's so fun to see because you have like the most random
stuff. That's what's so fun about it. So that helps me to be motivated too. I'm like, this is actually a fun thing to share on social media. But anyway, we like spent a lot of our money that we had saved for moving. And then since we've been here, like I have not been able to make the money I normally make. And so I haven't been able to build that back up the way I wanted to. And that is really stressful for me going back into paying my student loan payment. And just like, also, now that my feet are on the ground, I do want to dream a little bit bigger again for my store and make something better out of it and source better and spend a little more money on better inventory. And I'm just like, I feel like I'm still scraping the bottom of the barrel like 6 months after I've moved, which sucks. I thought by now it'd be like,
if it makes you feel better, I did not move and I'm feeling the exact same as you. Although my motivation,
that does not make me feel better. It makes me feel bad for you as well.
Misery loves company, right? You're like, I want to make things better. And I'm like headed in the opposite direction. Where I'm like, is this just like the end of it? Not to be doom and gloom. If you guys have a doom and
gloom.
Yes. If you guys have seen my last videos, they're very doom and gloom, which is why I have not done a video in like a month because I'm like, I don't have
Yeah.
anything nice to say. If
That's
you
real
have
talk,
anything nice
though.
to say, don't have anything to say at all.
I would like to point out that Ken says we should skip paying loans and buy more sneakers. And that's how you know, ladies and gentlemen, it is Ken and not JC.
That's right. Let's begin with a chat and then we can
Yeah.
lots of friends are here. Ken is also speaking, interviewing. He's doing something at Open too, right?
Yes, he is. Yep, he's doing some really cool stuff. I can't tell you all of it, but he is doing some cool stuff on the main stage. I'll say that.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
We're actually I spoke yesterday, so I learned like in depth about eBay Open before it came out so I could speak to it.
Oh,
And
yeah.
the 71% increase in seller-led sessions, which is kind of, and they're doing like a speed dating networking, like it sounds.
That sounds fun.
Yeah.
Also, I smiled really big when you were like, that's a 71% increase. I'm like, of course it is, Sarah. Of course you're going to give this statistic. That
The
just, like,
numbers.
made me so
I know, and I
happy.
was like, I'm on eBay, not on my YouTube, so most people don't know who I am and aren't like, okay, Sarah's a dork.
I love
Sarah,
it.
first,
love
hello
it.
to both of you. Hello, Tommy. I'm glad we're back too. Are you not speaking at the remix now? I was excited to meet you. Okay, so, Boss Reseller Remix has their thing in Vegas every year. They asked me to speak at it. It was, in the spring before my life got pretty chaotic.
Aha.
And when I was having sales, because I have to get there and pay for it.
Yeah,
Because
absolutely.
it's like resellers putting it on. They don't pay you to get there. They don't, it's nice
Yeah.
to be asked to speak there, but it's all on you. And so I said yes in the spring. I was definitely excited to do it, but as sales have continued to decline and as my personal family life has also continued to need more of me, I did have to pull out, Tommy. So I tried, I don't know. I was hoping that I could do something virtual, but just the way that it's all set up with them, I can't. So maybe in the future when things get back up. But yeah, I did have to.
Oh, that's a bummer.
I know.
I didn't know about that, but I feel like ever so slightly better that I'm also not going because I like really want to go, but it's like during my anniversary and I was like,
Oh
I
yeah.
need to do something for that probably.
I mean, yeah, maybe. Last year on my anniversary, I had a girls' trip planned.
You've been married, what, 12,
like
12
yeah,
years? Is that right? Me
something like
too.
that.
It's 12 years for me this year. So maybe I should plan a girls' trip.
It didn't actually end up happening because then we all got sick. And I was sick on it, but
even worse.
I mean, our anniversary is we got married at a courthouse and I have a stepson. And so we wanted him to be there. And it was Thanksgiving break. And that weekend we were like, oh, we have we have my child. I was going to say his name. I don't like to share their names on it.
Yeah.
We have him this weekend. We should go to the courthouse and get married. I call my mom and I'm like, where's my birth certificate? And they were out of town. And she's like, oh, it's in the closet, blah, blah, blah. What do you need it for? And I was like, oh, we're just going to go get married. And she's like, Sarah, we're not invited. And I was like, no. And so we went to the courthouse randomly the next day because he was on school break and we were off because it was Thanksgiving break.
Yeah.
So I don't even remember the day. Yeah.
It's convenient.
I don't even remember what day it was. Irish Lux is saying, I am realizing I've been in part of your Facebook. You have a Facebook group? I think.
No, I do not.
Oh.
Maybe I have a doppelganger out there.
Oh, yes. Let us know what Facebook group you think you're a part of.
Maybe I should be in there.
Maybe you have a scammer or a hacker.
Hello. I hate that.
Thoughts on yellow flowery backgrounds for pictures?
Oh, well, Google and all the algorithms I know don't like that. They won't pull your picture to show it or pull your listing to show it. I also think colors throwing off the way other colors look can be tricky. I mean, that being said, if you go look at my 10,000 items, they are certainly not all on a white background. Most of them are not, but I usually try to do something that's like tonally neutral, white, gray, or like wood grain, like wooden, if it's not too colorful, too saturated of a color. I try to do something that looks pretty neutral so that it doesn't mess with how the colors of the item look in the photos. So I think it kind of depends. But that being said, like if that's your brand and you don't need to rely on the algorithms as much for whatever reason, then maybe it's not an issue. I mean, it sounds cute.
Yeah, especially if it's like your brand, right?
Yeah.
I will say recently in an eBay for Business podcast, which if you guys don't listen to it, I find it to be one of the most helpful places to get information. And
Yeah.
whenever I've asked a question, they have gotten right back to me. Well, right back to me in the sense of like you have to wait for them to read it and then they have to film it. And but it's a great place to ask a question and they'll like do their research and figure out the answer for you. But in one of their recent shows, they were talking about the white background. And they said that recently, so it used to be like you wouldn't even, or Google would not even pull it. They would reject it.
Right.
And they said recently it's kind of, they've let up on it a little bit. You'll see some without a white background and some with. And so you can, it's not as risky business as it used to be, but it's still not best practice is kind of what
Yeah.
they're saying.
I heard very like similar, like almost exact same thing out of the mouth of a growth advisor while I was on eBay's campus recently. So that was it. There were a couple of things actually that had sort of softened that maybe even a year ago it would have been like pretty hard and fast, like, no, this is the recommendation officially. But eBay is always evolving, and that can be annoying when you want to set it and forget it. But it's also helpful because they're going to like at least be transparent about those things when they kind of change. And it's like, okay, like for me with 10,000 listings, if I was like, great, I'm going to sit down and commit to changing the backgrounds on 10,000 listings and it actually doesn't matter that much, like I want to know that. I'm not going to spend my time on that. You know what I mean?
Right. You
So
have to do like a cost benefit analysis, right? Like it's worth
absolutely.
the time. Maybe going forward, do it, but not like go back
Right.
to the listings.
That's how I do most things in life. Like from this point on, I will not do that
Right.
again.
You know better, do better. On that point, we were
Mhm.
talking, Anna and I were chatting last week. I don't even know when it was, but about some practices, best practices, and trying to get sales back. And so I went in and updated 200 listings titles. It's done not a damn thing.
Not a thing.
It's so, and it, I mean, it took me like 2 hours, and I even did it like
Yeah.
in bulk edit. I do want you to speak to that though, because I do think going forward, like that's how I'm going to do it. But
Yeah.
yeah, if you want to speak to like the best practices for listing that you found out recently.
Yeah. So one thing, I mean, the thing we were talking about was with regard to the titles and how I was told this by a couple of different people from eBay. Just that basically the order of the first, like, or not the order, but the first 3 words of your title are basically the most important. And so for me, with a lot of miscellaneous stuff or stuff that isn't necessarily like, here's a brand and a model name or number, that's the thing that people are going to search. Like what I need to be putting in most of my listings is like the noun that identifies what the item is. Like this is a shirt. That's, like, and then all the other descriptive keywords and stuff after. So
Which
for me
when
that,
you're like writing, that's not how you would write it. You would do like
yes,
all your
I put the
adjectives
noun
and then
last.
yeah.
Yes, I'm like, this is a black vintage medium size Intarsia sweater, and
Right.
it's like they would say put, Intarsia is an interesting word. Not too many people use that word. So I
Yeah.
might say black Intarsia sweater first and then
And
say
then all that.
medium, and they're like, don't even put vintage, don't, anything that you're putting an item specific for might still warrant being in the title, but like not first in the title.
Would you put, because I still keep brand in the title because most of my fashion is
Yeah,
brands, like they're searching for that brand. Like you
totally,
want
totally.
Lululemon,
Yeah.
whatever,
A
underwear.
lot of fashion is like that. And that's a great example. Like that is an item specific that's people can filter out by brand depending on the category, but also just buyer behavior when they're looking at a list of search results, like they want to know right away if it is Lululemon or not, like
Yeah,
for sure.
right. Well, another thing I was doing, and I mean, you get in the habit of listing your way and you don't really like think about updating things. So when we talked about that, then I went back to eBay and I was searching on eBay. And so like if you search Lululemon, then it'll bring down all of the things that are like next, like the most frequently searched things.
Yeah.
So if you're new to listing or you're trying to like refresh things, for me, it was like, okay, people are searching in Lululemon for style name. Like all the next ones that came up was style name, or they're searching for skirts or bra, where it's
Right.
helping you decide how to do it. We do have another question. So Anna, now that you're in your new place, how has finding sourcing
Oh.
spots gone?
Mhm.
Able to find some things, or did you have to pivot?
So fun fact, I was all along I was looking forward to sourcing here. I just wish I had more capital to do more of it.
Yeah.
But and to pay someone here to also help me process items, because my sister-in-law is still working for me remotely, but that means she's not like on ground with me taking photos and stuff. So I'm my own bottleneck again with listings, but that's okay. Here nor there. I moved back to my hometown. So this is a place I'm very, very familiar with. And over the last few years, since I've been selling full time on eBay, I've actually had a lot more freedom to come travel and visit up here. So I source all the time while I'm up here, even when I didn't live here yet. And so now I like already know where the good spots are, which is awesome. So really, I mean, I love it here because I'm in like the rural Midwest. And so there's things like farm auctions that like that
Yeah.
wasn't a thing in the area I lived before, where you might get, you know, a giant table of stuff for $1 that's like awesome vintage stuff that this family kept in their farmhouse for 100 years and took really good care of it and used it forever, and it still works. So that kind of stuff is cool. There's also, you know, pockets of like the good and bad and whatever thrift stores. There's, you know, enough around here. Like that flea market's a big yard sale and estate sale game here also, which is fun. Also, I'm only like 45 minutes from St. Louis, so there's the bins in St. Louis, which is
Mm.
closer than any bins were to me, where I live north of Atlanta. So that's kind of interesting too. I haven't gone yet. I've been there once before a long time ago, but since I moved, I haven't been there. But there's a lot of potential, and it's pretty fun. I even bought something off of Facebook Marketplace the other day, which I never do. So
Yeah, I don't even look. Even
I know,
around the house, I'm like, it's always more
I
than
know.
it's worth. It's gotten
Someone sent me the listing. That's the only reason. But you know, everyone here, like my whole family's here, so they're all like eyes on the ground for me now too. And they're like, "You need this, you need that," and I'm like, "Slow your roll. I don't have time to do all that."
my whole family, or most of my whole family, lives here, but my brother-in-law also resells.
Oh
And
yeah,
he
yeah.
sells like how you read, like stuff that you resell, like all of the basic,
Randos.
yeah. And I just sell clothes, and so the only person that can really help me is my niece and my mom.
Yeah.
Because they know brands, they know styles, they know, and everyone else is, "Do you want this?" And I'm like, "No, I don't really want a Walmart shirt. Thank
No,
you."
thank you. Yeah, exactly. How are his sales? Or is he very like hit or miss
He's
anyway?
very like hit or miss.
Okay.
I wanted to plug Anna just real quick because she is on social media a lot more now, and it is fun to watch her stories. If you're interested in what she is sourcing, eventually listing, she's posting them in her stories, and it's kind of fun to see all the random, not
Yeah. I
at
mean,
all stuff that I sell.
I think it's fun. Also, hi Lisa, and thank you for saying that. Lisa's awesome.
My brother-in-law sells. He says they're good, but he's very like a full-time hobbyist
Yeah,
is
it's like he
how I
doesn't
would put it.
need the income to be regular.
Yeah, well, I mean, they use the income, but
Yeah.
my sister is she's like the breadwinner and he does it. But he's more of a hobbyist in the sense of like he's from Morocco, and so he'll like take the summer off to go back and visit, and he'll,
Oh yeah.
if he's like not interested in sourcing, he won't, or he really enjoys the sourcing, and he's like, "Oh, I have like 100 items that need to be listed, but I'm gonna go out shopping today." Like, so he just like really enjoys the sourcing, and then
That
it's like,
sounds
"Oh,
familiar.
yeah, I could like make money at it." I mean, he does really well, and he knows that his sourcing is on fire. He knows, and he knows all the people at all the places. Last time I talked to him, he was working with an estate sale, and they let him go in first, and then he ran the estate sale. So they paid him
Oh
to run the
wow.
estate sale for them, and then he also got all the inventory he wanted
I
first.
need to do that.
Yeah.
That sounds like a good setup. I mean, yeah, that's honestly something though. Even when I first moved here, I had some stuff that I moved unlisted stuff, like a little pile of it, because I don't like to have a death pile. Like that bothers me. So I'm really trying to like crush it now. But like I was like, well, I'm moving. I don't have time. Like I just didn't perfectly calculate the amount of time I had. So, you know, it came with me. So now I'm like clearing that pile before I do any more like major sourcing, but it'll be interesting if I can do something like that, you know, at some point.
Yeah. Well, and if it's your hometown, he's very, very good at
Yeah.
working.
Oh,
And so
yeah. Sorry, that reminded me. That was something else I was going to say about how things have settled after moving. I was so excited. I've talked about this a little bit on my social media, on my Instagram, but like I have now made little inroads with a couple of local retailers, so I almost have to buy no shipping supplies now, which is amazing. And I love getting to recycle and reuse all of that stuff, because these businesses would just like throw it in the dumpster. Like they don't have time to trifle with it. But for me, it's like tons of like weird random sized little boxes, which is perfect for like all the random stuff that I sell, and like filler, all the air pillows and like packing peanuts and all kinds of stuff. So
Well, and
just like,
with sales being down, trying to
oh,
save on expenses is going to help your bottom line.
100%. Like that has been the difference probably between me paying myself or not paying myself for like a couple of months lately. Summer was also brutally slow in general. So, but like that was a huge help. And that was a goal I had. And that actually came together. That's like the one thing that came together sooner than I expected. And I was really grateful for that.
I mean, for me, I don't really use shipping supplies. It's like
Yeah.
probably mailers. But if you guys ship a whole bunch of stuff, I mean, Anna has great points that there are so many places that you can save, or even just family members who save Amazon boxes.
Oh, yeah.
It saves on a lot.
Reuse the crap out of those for sure.
CJ is saying, I have seen some of your videos and know you said doom and gloom, but what do you think is causing the issue? I mean, we talked a little bit about it before, but I'll let you go and then I'll say.
Yeah. I mean, multifactorial as usual. Some of it is going to be buyer behavior related to macroeconomics. Some of it is related to competition. There's an absolute ton of listings on the internet these days, which I don't really think, I mean, I think that definitely plays in. There's always going to be an ebb and flow, and we want people to list things on the internet so that that's a thing, and that's like a regular part of people's consumerist habits in the US, and that they go to these platforms to find all the things that they want, so like that's not a bad thing in general, but yeah, it just depends. Like there are saturation issues in like a lot of categories, and I don't know how much of it is people who maybe started selling in COVID and now they're keeping it going as their side hustle, or I don't know like what plays into that, but I think
eBay's also allowing bigger companies now to come on.
Yeah.
At least in the fashion world. Which like we can't compete. I can't compete with that, right?
Yeah.
Where all of their overstock that they used to be selling to resellers to sell for them, they're not selling themselves.
So I didn't know about that. Like, has that been a recent change?
I feel like I haven't, like I said, I haven't really been paying much attention for the last 6 months to reselling. So I know it was just starting. I haven't really looked at it, but I know I did a video a couple months ago. And a year ago there was like 1.7 million women's tops, and now there's 5 million in a year.
5 million?
Yes. I mean, that's for me, women's fashion, that's a huge part. And then, like you said, the economy, on Poshmark, my Poshmark sales have been in the gutter all year. They're really pushing the live selling, and they got bought out. They haven't really said what they've done with that. Well, they got bought out last year.
Oh, okay.
But they said that they're not changing anything. But let's be honest, like
somebody's gonna change something eventually,
right? You come into the new company and you try and change things. So I wouldn't be surprised if they're doing things in the back end as well.
That's very interesting.
Pardon this, but there's no rookie questions. We all were new at one point. You have a very cool store set up with categories. Thank you. Do you have to pay a monthly fee to eBay to be able to put your products in a category? You have to for a store. Can you do the category without a store?
I don't think so. I think so you have to have some kind of a store subscription, but I think the lowest one is like $8 a month or something. And so, if you don't have a ton of listings, that's fine. Honestly, I mean, I haven't done this analysis in a while, but I assume that it's still the case that if you have like enough listings to kind of fit under the like into the description of whatever store subscription level it is that you're looking at, it's actually saving you money on your fees anyway, because that's how it's designed. So like if you have
extra features and analytics,
and you do get so much more for it. But also just like literally your listing fees. It's like this, if you're listing stuff, buy it now or auctions or whatever, like either way, it's like if you're listing that many things every month anyway, then you should totally just do the subscription. So
I do have a video. I know CJ, I think I saw her yesterday. I know I was chatting with someone from yesterday's eBay open thing, and I think this might be
cool.
Her. But I do have a video that I did it's probably 6 months since I haven't been doing videos regularly. But they walk you through like the benefits of having a store subscription, the fees, but then also like all the other things that come with it and how they're helpful. Yeah. She's also asking, don't use the word vintage or just not in the first 3 words?
Just not in the first 3 words. I would I've been putting it at the end. And honestly, a lot of times you don't super need it because if it's vintage, it should be in a vintage category anyway. But like, like I said, just when someone's looking, if they're just browsing, for other keywords that are in your title and they might want a vintage one or not, like it doesn't matter, then that might still be good for them to know. So I still put it in there, but not towards the front.
Yeah. And I think on the podcast, there's debate over this as well. The eBay for Business podcast, about not doing it at all because you can search for it on the item specifics and stuff. But I'm going to tell you, anytime that I search for something vintage,
I type
I type
vintage.
it in.
Me too,
So I
girl.
still put it in,
Yeah.
especially like women's fashion, or I'll type like 90s. I want like a 90s Guess jean jacket or something, right?
Yeah.
Like I would type the era and that in. All
Right.
right. I think we're caught up on questions.
Nice.
Okay, one more thing. Any chance of this product influx in effect by smash and grabs issue? I don't know what that's.
I don't know if it would go like from 1 to 5 million or whatever, but like how it's so much easier for people to shoplift now. So is that accounting for some of the influx of listings?
Gotcha. We had talked about that when we were chatting before. Yeah, I don't know that it's to that extent.
Yeah. I mean, I bet some people are selling that stuff, but
yeah.
man.
Yeah, maybe. All right. So we're caught up on questions. Do feel free to ask more questions if you have them.
Yeah.
Life update with me 30 minutes in.
Yes,
so
please.
We kind of abruptly stopped. And by we, I mean, I told Anna I can't do this right now. We're stopping in spring. So if you guys don't know, I have 3 neurodiverse kids. I resell to be home and flexible with them. My youngest is a kindergartner and he was struggling in kindergarten. I was getting daily calls. You need to come pick him up. This isn't.
Oh man.
Things there. And he'd been with the same teacher for 3 years and never had a problem. I don't know. So we ended up pulling him out for kindergarten because in Colorado, you don't legally have to do kindergarten. And he was just, I was going and getting him every day anyway. And he was like in a fight or flight, just very traumatic state. And so I pulled him out and I want to say homeschooled, but it's not legally, you didn't have to. So we were just doing what we could. And then my kids were home during the summer, all of them. And he was still having, we got some therapies and OT and stuff for him. They are all back in school now. And so far, so good. He has a new teacher this year.
Wood.
Yes, we worked really hard and set up some meetings ahead of time with his new teacher. And so far, she's been great understanding kind of his neurodiversity things and working on some of the academic stuff with him. So we're a month in. And
so first grade, right?
Yes, first grade. And they go to Montessori school. So he's in with first, second, and third graders. Which I think is helping because I think he was just tapped out of.
Yeah.
He was in with 3 and 4-year-olds as like a 6-year-old. And academically, there was nothing for him to do. He's gifted. So he was like, it was just a lot of things boiling together that
you're like, this is not the place for you, bud.
Yeah. But the school is still great. My daughter is there and they've been great going into first grade. So I think he was just done with kindergarten and that's how 6-year-olds let you know.
Yeah.
Because they don't have the words. So hopefully things are going to stay better now. However, as me and Anna kind of talked about, and we'll continue doing these and we'll see how it goes. You guys have probably noticed with some of my videos that my sales have been trash. I still was reselling. I was still listing 10 items a day. I was still taking photos. I have someone sourcing for me. So all of that was still happening. You guys just didn't see it because I wasn't doing YouTube videos. That's kind of what went away.
Yeah.
But it's trash. So I don't know. We'll see. Well, I've been trying to get sales back. I just am not sure that it's worth it anymore. I don't know. I'm not to the point of quitting yet, but it's rough out there.
But you're a realist also. Yeah. So, but I feel like this is obviously a lot of us are going to be facing this question / even to the point of facing a decision about it. And so, I mean, it's hard, right? It's hard to change up when you've tailored your life to fit your priorities and your needs and everything. So like, do you have any good alternatives already sketched out for yourself? Or are you just like, that's part of the decision-making process, like investigating new options? I mean,
I think that is the hardest part because I mean, I do it for the flexibility of the kids. And
Yeah.
if they're homesick, then you have to call in. And
Yeah.
my income, we've fortunately structured our life where we could live off of one income. And right now, all of our bills can be paid by my spouse's income. So
Yeah.
my income is, kids being able to do extracurricular and saving for retirement and not things that you have to have, but like really nice things.
Yeah. Nice to have for sure.
Vacations.
Yeah.
Right. So, and a lot of it too, especially now that they're all in school, it's just stimulating my things that are interesting and stimulating my mind. The flexibility of it and the this year, the amount of money that we can make for not really doing
Much.
well, we have to do stuff, but like you can't find that
Yeah.
anywhere else.
But some of it's like, it's the reward for what the sweat equity you've already put in, the thing that you've built. Like at this point, we're both in that boat where it's like, all right, like,
Yeah, I have processes where I can take photos in 2 hours in for a week, where 5 years ago, that was not the case, right?
right,
It's
exactly.
taking us a lot longer.
So you should be making more money for less work at that point.
Yes, but that's not the
how it
case this
works.
year. Yeah, that's not the case this year.
Yeah.
I mean, I have been, if you guys follow me on Instagram, I have been subbing a lot at the kids' school. So it's not the income that if sales were good, I would be making. But it is extremely flexible. They just call me and are like, "Can you come in today?" And I say yes or no.
Yeah.
And I did go to school to be a teacher, so it is nice to be in the classroom. And they go to a Montessori school, so there's 2 teachers in every classroom.
Yeah.
So I'm not in charge. Like, there's always another teacher who knows what's going on. I don't know that I would mainstream or I would sub at like a mainstream school.
Yeah. They're like, here's your lesson plan. And you're like, oh, no.
Yeah. And the kids are like, F you, I'm not doing
Yeah,
it.
the kids are like, I'm gonna eat you for breakfast.
Right.
Great.
So it is nice to be able to supplement that way and kind of just stimulate my mind in a different way. Right now that's the plan, is just doing that a couple days a week and holding on to reselling.
Yeah.
As you mentioned, having capital and paying yourself. We chatted about this, but there's been a couple months that there was not much to pay myself. So the next couple months, I am trying to limit what I buy and try and just burn through what
you have
to kind of help bottom line.
That worked for me with diminishing returns over like 8 to 9 months.
All right. So hopefully in 8 to 9 months, the economy recovers and we're good to go.
Yeah. And also, like, if I recall correctly, for you, normally Q4 is like not a big deal and even like kind of slow at different points. And so I'm really curious how that's going to go for you this year too, just because I don't know. It feels like there's just been a lot kind of pushing against us. And I mean, for me, it's hard for me to see what all of those things are because I've had this like super up close barrier of moving and like all of that disruption. But now, like right now, I'm like, okay, I could easily, list several hundred things a month, even just totally by myself. And so that's what I'm going to do. But like, I don't have that much more space in my basement. It's pretty full already. So like, I'm going to list this pile of stuff that I have, and then I'm going to be real picky when I'm sourcing after that.
Right. If it's not selling, because that's where I'm
at. Right.
My husband's like, well, my profits are decreasing. Things are selling, but like they're decreasing significantly. He's like, you have to do a volume game. And I was like, I'm out of space.
Right.
So going to a volume game for me is a warehouse or storage, which is added expenses when I'm and going somewhere, and I can't.
Right. It's like that defeats the whole setup, right? So, I mean,
so I'm just trying to get through it.
Yeah. But also, in one way, I guess, on one hand, for me, like this has been super disruptive with moving and everything. Everything's been like real bad. My sell through is plummeted, but I feel like it's mostly because of that. But I'm sure there's other stuff at play too. But I'm curious because, I've mentioned this before, like probably on here and other shows or whatever. But like, I was part-time building my store for 3 years before I went full-time. Went full-time in September of 2019. COVID happened the beginning of 2020, and nothing was regular after that. To this day, nothing has followed the pattern that was going nice and regular for 3 whole years before that. Like everything that I projected, sometimes I was way off in one direction, sometimes the other. The seasonal patterns have not been normal. I mean, they've been approximating more normal as we've gotten further away from COVID, but still not really. No. not like it was for those 3 years. So I'm just like, okay, well, I'm hoping for the best. always hoping for the best and doing what I can. And when I'm nervous about it, I'm just like, I'm going to, snap into activity and I am going to list more or whatever. But, like all of us have a hard stop somewhere, or we have to pivot or like diversify some other way or something. So I'm not out of options yet, but it is really hard to just keep entertaining. Okay, what should my next trial be when you
And
are
it's
scraping the bottom of the
yeah,
barrel?
and it's defeating too,
Yeah,
right?
it's
And
demoralizing for sure.
right, and it's like a couple months of bad sales is fine,
Yeah.
but, like, I was looking at my data this morning, and it's, very clear, like, downward
Yeah.
trend. It's not like, "Oh, this is a couple of summer slowdown, a couple of bad months."
Right.
It's the entire year, and as you mentioned, for me, Q4 is not usually the best. Q3 is typically my best, which, like,
Yeah.
we're here.
Hi.
August was my worst month.
Yeah.
September is not, it's kind of getting better. October, November typically are one of my best months, which is why I'm still like holding on because I'm like, all right,
Yeah.
if this is going to be the make or break, what's going to happen in October and November,
Yeah.
and we can go from there. So yeah,
Totally. That's how I feel too. I mean, for me, it would be, well, there's 10,000 plus things in my basement. So even if I went and got a day job doing something, I would still be trying to sell that stuff evenings and weekends. Like,
yes, right, because you already have it. You've already
yeah, I've already put in the work. Yeah. And I also love doing it. Like, I want it to work, and it has worked very well for years in the past. So I know that this is a temporary problem, but how temporary is the question?
right, and that's kind of where I'm at too. I was telling my mom, and she's like, "Are you donating everything?" And I was like, "Whoa, whoa, whoa!" Like I'm not at that point yet. I've already put all the time into this,
Right.
but I think it's more like I'm not putting as much
Yeah. And
mental and
where's your
physical energy.
focus?
Yeah.
Yeah. Right.
And that's where it is. Like, I still will ship everything that sells. I'll
Yeah.
still, like, do business as usual, but I don't think I'm putting as much mental and physical energy into it. This
Yeah.
is why I absolutely love my audience because they're asking such good questions. So
Yes.
before I
I
have to go
love
get
it.
the kids, when you say trash, can you elaborate? And are you still trying A/B split testing with the PL? I'm assuming promoted
Promoted
listings.
listings.
He's asking. I am absolutely. And because I've not had a video in a month, you guys can guess how that's going.
Not well, I'm gonna say.
I know I haven't had anything to say because I'm trying all these things and nothing's working. And I have made a couple of videos. If you look at my last videos, they're all like doom and gloom. And I'm like, this is just, it's not me. It's not my channel. So I'm not going to do videos until I have nice things to say.
Yeah.
That being said, I did just do a video. So probably in the next week or two, it'll come out on some promoted listings. I got mad. Don't do this. Sales were so bad, and I was looking at my fees, and I was like, "Why am I even paying these fees to not make any sales? It's eating into my profits. I'm done with promoted listings." Spoiler alert, not great. My sales, like,
Not a good move. Not a
nope.
good move.
But it did give me a lot of insight into how promoted listings work once I turned them back on. So it's gonna come out in
Huh.
the video.
I
But
like
I am
that.
definitely,
That's a
I
good
am.
take.
Yeah, well, you gotta do something because it was
Yeah.
not great. You can only come up from it is all I can say.
So where are you right now? And sorry if I'm stepping on your line, tell me, but where are
No,
you in terms, you talk about reseller nirvana, right? How is that? How much nirvana are you experiencing right
I
now?
am not. I also looked at that this morning. Last month, I can look at it right here. Last month, I listed, where am I? Oh, there it is. Last month, I listed 340 items. So I'm still listing here, friends.
Dang, girl.
I know. I sold 175.
Wow.
So those who don't know, reseller nirvana is selling as many items as you list.
Nirvana, no.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm at about half.
Or is it Novana?
Novana. Right.
Novana.
It's no bueno is what it is. It's um,
No.
and I actually was working more this summer. I was still listing. I'm running sales. I actually went in and edited 200 listings to see if the
Titles.
title would help.
Yeah.
Promoted listings, sending coupons.
Yeah. Well, and I think that's so interesting too. Like for me, when I started changing the titles, it did make a difference, but I've pretty much decided, okay, it's not realistic for me to make changes on 10,000 items for almost any reason unless I can do it in bulk. And it's not individual. Like that's a very individual change. So like I couldn't do that really in bulk. It wouldn't really help. It wouldn't be any faster. But now if I'm making any changes, I'm doing the top 10% of my store and that's it. And
Which is
like,
what I did. I went
yeah,
through and I changed the titles on the top $10 amount of my stuff.
yeah, exactly. Me too. I sort by value because it's like, I want those to sell.
And it's not, my ASP is continuing to decline.
Yeah.
I used to be like beginning pandemic, pre-pandemic, I was at like $40. I'm at like 25 now.
Yeah.
And my fees are increasing. So my
Yeah.
bottom line is
Actually, yeah, lower.
yeah. So what I will say is my plan, because someone's saying what about going through older listings and reworking them. My plan moving forward is I'm buying less inventory for my cash flow. And I'm going to have my virtual assistant go through and list 5 items, 7, somewhere around there. I haven't come exactly to what I'm doing. A day, and then go in and rework older listings, check comps again, look at pictures. I have one virtual assistant she's really phenomenal. So have her go in and like I was going through and changing the titles, and then I would look at the listing, and I caught like maybe 3 to 5, which is not a lot, but they had like the wrong brand or they had the
Yeah.
wrong color. And so I think I'm going to put her efforts into helping older listings instead of buying more stuff.
Yeah. That's what I did when I started, like, not, or I stopped kind of listing new stuff when I was gearing up for moving. My sister-in-law, who is amazing, Amanda, love you. She's incredible. She works for me and she still lives in Georgia. And I had her start doing like an audit basically of my listings because I'm like, I know that's valuable. And at that point I had learned a lot of stuff that I probably needed to do, but like I did not have time to do it myself. And I was like, this will give you meaningful work to do that's going to help the store, even while I'm not putting new stuff in it. And I think that probably helped me more than I can't really measure,
Right.
I can't really A/B test that, but like, I think it was a good use of her time, and she's awesome. She has such great attention to detail. So I'm like, make sure it's in the right freaking category, because sometimes things go sideways when you're making the draft and it's just in some random wrong category. Like,
Or even like, okay, I've had this for 2 years and I had it as a sweater, but it could also be a hoodie or so, like where
right,
there's
right.
sometimes those
Yeah.
2 categories, and
Switch
I'm
it
like,
up.
switch it to the other one and see if it's down.
Absolutely.
And someone's asking about sell similar, and so my thought is having her do the oldest ones. I'm
Yeah.
still doing sell similar every day. Not every day, on the weekdays. I take the weekends off. But so doing the older ones, and then as I do sell similar, they're refreshed with new stuff.
Yeah.
All of my store is on sale all the time.
Mine is too.
I've tried to go in and do like older inventory on a higher sale, but when you're doing sell similar, it's kind of hard to figure out. I tried last weekend to go through like manually and do it, and I was like, nope,
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm not doing that. Hustlebee is asking, is traffic down or conversion? Both.
Yeah.
So
Mine's both.
traffic was really, really down because I stopped doing promoted listings.
Yeah. They're like crater.
Yeah. I mean, the graph is, you guys will see the video. Like the graph is her, you can clearly see when I stop. But it's both. And
Yeah.
my sell-through rate was 10-15%, and now we're at 5.
Yeah.
With more listings. So
Mine is normally like the best months I have are like, well, and this is not my eBay analytics numbers, but just like the number of items I have listed, the percentage of those that sell through every month is what I mean when I say sell through. I'm not talking about a number they're giving me, but normally like a really good month for me was like 5%.
yeah.
Of 12,000, so like that's a lot of items, and that's based on the number of items, not the value of the items. But anyway, now it's like really lucky if it's 3%. It's probably 1 or 2% or somewhere in between.
Well, what's interesting, and this is why I'm like, I just have to write it out, because I'm always like, okay, is it me doing something wrong or is it the market? Because it's easy to be like, oh, it's the market and the market sucks and blah, blah, blah.
Right.
So I was looking in Terapeak, and broad generalization, like women's jeans. The sell-through rate last year for women's jeans was like 5-6%, and it's now down to 3.
Yeah.
So it's not just me, it's all
Yeah.
right. If you have an increase in listings, but your buyers are not increasing, eBay buyers are actually decreasing right now by like 3 or 4%. So not huge. But when you're having more listings and less buyers, that's not really
Yeah.
great for us.
I do wonder how the new international shipping program, if we're going to see a greater international buyer base open up, if that really is going to be an affordable solution for a lot of people. Like, that's one thing that, like we all have the inventory sitting here, like, so being able to push it out even still through eBay, but like to the world more easily, maybe
More
that will
fun,
help over time. But I mean, I feel like buyer behavior and marketing has to all catch up with that too.
yeah. Right, right. It is nice to have, but we've also had it for almost a year now too, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Depending on when it rolled out.
Yeah. Depending when you got it. Yeah. So,
Was intrigued by your sell similar strategy. Should you use such a strategy if you have an item with, say, 15 watchers who have
ooh.
just been watching for a long time but do nothing? This is interesting because I think it depends, and Anna can probably speak to it because of hers. It depends on your categories and what you're selling,
Mm-hmm.
knowing your buyer's behavior. Like for me in women's fashion, when there's 5 million other listings, if you're watching my item and you haven't bought it in 2 months, you're not coming back for it. I
Yeah.
mean, maybe if it's like the one Gucci purse that I have or something.
Yeah.
But most of my items, a pair of Joe jeans, you're not coming back if you're watching it.
Yeah.
If you're in certain realms that Anna's in, where it's a collectible,
Yeah.
possibly that means something.
So, yeah. And what I would say is sometimes if you have a lot of activity and no buyer, maybe your price is too high, but also maybe instead of selling similar, you could try something else. Like whenever you, I think this is still true anyway. It was true a year ago for sure, because someone at eBay told me this a year ago. But if you lower the price by 5% or you put it on sale, everybody who's watching it or is like a heavy browser who views the listing a lot will get notified that it's like a better price, and that will prompt them, like remind them to come and buy it.
Yeah.
So I would try some stuff like that. If you can send offers on it, seller initiated offers, I would send those out. I'd try some of that stuff first. There was something else I was just thinking when, oh, it was, oh yeah. Sarah, do you do newsletters in your store?
Um, yes, they don't. I just tried one. Like right now, I'm like trying all the things. I'm like
Yeah,
throwing
same.
everything at the wall. What's gonna stick? And I sent one out recently. With a
Yeah.
coupon. Like I did a huge sale on my store and sent a coupon out to everyone on my
Yeah.
newsletter, and it didn't convert.
That, and we don't have analytics on those conversions anyway, right?
No, not on the newsletter. So all we have on the
Okay.
newsletter is like how many people opened it, but I did
Okay.
it on I think I had I just ran a coupon just for the newsletter so I could see it
Gotcha.
converted and the coupon
Smart.
was not used. Maybe they came to my store and bought something without using the coupon.
Yeah.
But,
But
but
why? Why
right.
would you? Well, the interesting thing, I was always like, newsletter, that sounds like I read a freaking book I love to write.
Yeah.
Not interested in writing a newsletter every week. That's not what it is. So if anyone else is an idiot like me and thought that that's what it was, it's not what it is. Um, it's another automated way to basically gently nudge the people who are interested in your stuff or your store to come back whenever you have anything going on. So you can automate it. It will let them know if there's a new sale, if there's a coupon. You can decide which group of buyers or people it goes to and how often, all that stuff. So I've also put that in motion now. I have no idea if it's doing anything. Seems like not, because everything's still kind of crap in the sales department.
Yeah.
But I think it's a good strategy to have in place. And I love anything that like you can set up and it does the appropriate amount of contact. It's not bothering people, and it's also letting people, it's raising their awareness about when you're doing stuff in your store to move your items.
So
So
I have like a reoccurring newsletter set up.
yes, me too.
Like people who follow me, because I'm like, if they're following me, they have made the attempt to see what I want to do. So I don't feel
Yes.
spammy, right?
Right.
And then so that goes out, I think, every once a month, maybe usually at the beginning of the month, because that's the best sales. Like, hey, look, I have new inventory.
Yeah.
And then this past weekend, I sent one out to like any past buyer, anyone that you could.
Anyone within arm's reach.
Yeah,
Yeah.
anyone that eBay allows. And I have a couple people asking about like, hey, after 90 days, do you do sales? And this is when I went in and manually did 200 items, because that's all that my brain would allow me to manually click of my
Yeah.
oldest inventory, and ran a 50% off sale on it and sent the newsletter out to everybody. And it
Didn't do anything.
I think I got a sale.
Wow.
50% off
Yeah.
inventory. Yeah. So
I did that one time when I was getting ready to move. I was like, all right, I'm just going to take like, I think I did 500 items out of whatever, like 10 to 12,000. And I was like, I'm just going to put all of these on auction, start them at 99 cents. literally one thing sold out of 500.
Yeah. And then when you go on auction, because I've done that too, but when it
I was
goes on
like,
auction, you have to remember to go back and like relist it.
uh-huh.
And I don't remember to do that.
Yeah.
So I quit doing
I
that.
was like, well, I tried. That didn't work. It's okay
People are
though.
saying when you say on sale, are you referring to promoting items? I think it depends on what we were
Yeah, I think in the context we've been talking about it, it's like you're running a store-wide markdown sale.
Yeah.
It's like promoted listings and a promotion, which is for your items that the buyers see, like a 20% off sale or, fill your cart and get free shipping, that type of thing. That's a promotion. And like when we're talking about on sale, that's what we mean. So promoted listings is like not something the buyer really sees, or that still comes out of your margin, but it's just to get it in front of more buyers. So it's not giving them a discount of any kind, if that makes sense.
It's like a market, like you're marketing it.
Yeah.
Kind of promotion.
Hopefully that
That's a good
makes
question.
sense.
Yes.
Yeah.
That was my alarm if you guys didn't hear. So ask your questions. I do want to say we are not doing next week because it is eBay open. Anna is speaking and Anna has something very exciting on Friday afternoon.
Yeah.
Morning? When is it?
Friday, also Thursday. Also, I'm doing a couple of networking rooms during eBay Open. If you guys are going, well, if you're not going, go. It's going to be a blast.
And it's free. It's free.
It's free, virtual. But some of it will be live, like the networking rooms and stuff. Ken, the Hustle Bee, and I and Lori Wong are doing a networking room together. And then my friend Dylan, who's also like a miscellaneous and media and fashion seller here in the Southern Illinois area, we're going to be hosting a eclectic and vintage collectibles networking session. So not for trading cards, all the other 400 collectibles categories. We're going to talk about all the weird stuff that we sell. So that one will be really fun.
And what's interesting too, they have the rooms for different parts of like they're going to have a growth advisor room.
Yes.
So if you have a lot of these questions, you can ask live too. It's free.
Totally. Shipping, you can talk to ads, you can talk to all kinds of departments, and it's amazing what they can just tell you. And they love to talk to sellers. Love it.
Yes. So even if you don't go to the content, you can just hop in and talk to people.
Absolutely.
If you are local, so I'm in Denver metro area. We are doing in Boulder a live kickoff event Tuesday night. So the night before, I don't know. I didn't put it on. I'm just going. So I don't know what all is going on. But if you're here, Tommy in Seattle, I'm assuming you're in Seattle. But if you want to fly to Boulder, we can meet next week.
He'll have to change his name to Tommy in Boulder.
Yes.
That's hilarious. I'll be in Atlanta. I'll be at the eBay studio in Atlanta. Mm-hmm.
Oh,
and Ken is too. Yeah.
Oh, nice. So if you guys are going to be at the live event in Atlanta. Okay. So questions. Yeah. Sorry, I wanted to plug that. So we will not be here next Friday. We will be here the following Friday.
Yes, but you can hang out with us at eBay Open if you want.
Yes, we will be there. Actually, next Friday, I'm going on vacation.
Bye.
Second half of the day. So I think eBay Open they usually end.
It's a little earlier or something.
For me, it's not. Okay. Is it because people are going back to stores to shop again? I think that could impact it.
Yeah.
For my category, collectibles.
And those stores are trying to move a whole lot of inventory as well.
Yes, if you go to stores and you notice, I saw a post the other day where someone found something at the Goodwill and then the same thing at TJ Maxx, and Goodwill was a higher price. Right. So like we can't compete with that. Newsletters, who would it go to? Just subscribers or followers? There's
you decide.
You can do like buyers from the last 30 days, buyers from the last 90 days. There's
followers.
A lot of flexibility. I have done a video on it. You can, if you like if you YouTube search like Sarah Styles newsletters, it should come up. If you can't find it, send me a message on Instagram and I'll go through and find it for you. It was probably like a year ago. I think I did it right around this time of eBay Open. And I don't think enough has changed for another one. What did you say about the collectible season?
Oh, yes. The networking thing. So Dylan and I are hosting that one. I believe it is on Wednesday. Networking is always like the last thing of the day. I'm pretty sure it's on Wednesday. Sorry. I'm doing something like every day. So it's just like, whatever, I have to be there. But yeah, it's in the schedule.
Yeah, the schedule is out. And I recommend, and I said it yesterday in the eBay thing, but I recommend going and getting on the schedule now and creating your agenda.
Absolutely.
Figure out what you want out of the session and then go.
Plan your snack breaks.
Yes. because they do go back to, right? Because it's virtual. So there's like, they don't.
Yeah. There's a couple of like 15-minute breaks, but
Yeah.
it's pretty intense. It's sitting on your butt for a long time. Or you get on your walking treadmill.
Yes.
That's what I should
usually,
do.
like during the keynotes and stuff, I usually just listen to it.
Yeah.
And, like I think last year I was doing photos while I was listening to it.
Yeah.
Are we saying the wrong dates?
I don't think so.
Where's my phone?
Oh, yes. Okay. Actually, yes, because you were like, oh, we're not doing it next week. It's not next week. It's the week after. So
Oh,
are we doing it next week?
I don't know. Okay, so don't listen to anything. Oh, don't listen to the dates that we said. Everything else is still relevant.
Yes.
So I have our YouTube live scheduled for the 29th and not the
Okay.
22nd. But the 29th would be the end of eBay.
That is eBay open.
Okay, we'll figure it out. It'll be on my YouTube live will be on YouTube with the right dates.
Yes.
And I think thank you for correcting us. I think
Yes.
you're right.
Thanks. Yeah. And just watch our social media. We'll make sure it's posted correctly.
Yes. And on eBay they had like eBay will be correct.
Yeah, yeah. Oh yeah, that's definitely the dates for eBay. But so
Yeah.
we may have our thing next Friday then if we're probably. But
we're leaving out of town because I was thinking.
Oh, that's your vacation.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay.
But maybe
we'll figure it out.
We'll figure it out. It'll
Yeah.
be on my social media, on our social media a couple days in advance. We'll figure it out. So that's it. Because I do have to go get kids. One last question.
There's okay. The networking session. Okay, yeah, the networking session
I think this is what we were just talking about.
Yes, is like the end of the day. There's probably a collectibles category breakout. That's not what I'm talking about. The thing I'm doing is a networking session. However, highly recommend also the category breakout. So if you're in collectibles, be at all of it.
Yes. Yeah. They've added a lot more category specific stuff, which I think is helpful because there's a lot of things that are category specific that aren't relevant to everyone. All right, friends. Thank you so much. It was so good to see everyone again. We will figure out our next one.
Yay. Oh my gosh. See you in Atlanta and come say hi to me, whoever is going to be there, and tell me who you are. Because I will not remember you.
Right, and what your social media picture looks like. Because people would tell me, and I'm like, "What's your social media name?" I don't know.
Yeah. Like, show me your avatar for sure.
Okay, exactly.
Well, we will be back on soon, and we'll let you know when.